to the channel, guys. It's Wes. I am Midgard Axe. How's everybody doing? How you guys been? Hope you enjoyed part one on the Ace of Spades. If you haven't seen it, go back and check out part one. Part one, I go over the details of the manufacturer's information, and then I do real world specs as far as weighing and you know, measuring the handle, getting into all the specs and kind of comparing the two and seeing if they match up, and just giving you my overall first impressions. So go back and check it out. So in this video here, guys, you probably already saw me throwing the axe at the beginning of the video, and I'll run some through as we're talking here. What my final impressions are of this axe after getting it, looking at it, comparing the specs, and now throwing it. I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion on this and tell you that this thing was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. It's a pretty cool axe. They did a great job seating the head on this handle. This handle has been beat up. I have torn this throwing axe up, and as you can see in the video, I was throwing this thing hard. I was throwing it from distance. I was throwing it up close. I was doing some turnaround throws. I was throwing this thing hard too, really hard. Hasn't come loose. Hasn't come loose at all. There is no movement at all on this head here, and the handle has taken a beating too, and no cracks, no chips, no nothing. The thing held up, so they did a great job seating this head on this handle. As far as the bit's concerned, I didn't sharpen it, guys. I threw it exactly how it came, and I will tell you that the bit is almost as sharp as it was when I first got it. Is it razor sharp? No. But it did do very well holding its edge. When they say stop sharpening, you know, I told you guys in the first video, there's never an axe that you don't have to sharpen. But this axe here has definitely held the edge. I mean, it's a little bit duller than when I got it, but the edge has held up. So I bet if I put a really good edge on this, it would probably hold for a while. I did get edge rollover, okay, but it's not bad. It is literally in two spots, okay, if you guys can see this or not, but it's right above my finger right here. I don't know if you can see that. See it right there, and then there is some rollover right here, okay, but it's only in two spots. I didn't get as much edge rollover as I thought I was going to with how thin this thing is, guys. Check how thin this thing is. That is a thin bit profile, and the cheeks are super thin. And I was throwing this thing for distance and throwing it hard. I got very little edge rollover, and to be honest with you, I've gotten way more edge rollover with axes that had fatter cheeks and a fatter bit than this one did. So I'm kind of impressed on how well the bit held up outside and how I throw. Now, getting into actually throwing the axe and what my actual opinion is on how it threw and how it flew. Okay, so remember how I told you guys in the last video that I felt like all the weight, it was not even with the handle. It was more like back here. It definitely, most of the weight, guys, is in this area right here. And like I told you before, it's similar to the Council Tool Camp Axe that I reviewed. When I told you guys that the head weight was all back here, and when you throw it for distance, you get a lot of wobble. I got the same thing with this one, throwing it for distance. Okay, so when I stepped back and I started throwing, I noticed that my axe would kind of wobble into the target and wobble out, or it would stick like this because all that weight that was in the back. I was able to do it. I was able to throw it for distance, and you know, you guys have seen the video, so probably right now I'm showing you the video of me throwing the axe for distance, and it held up and it felt really good out of the hand. There wasn't anything dragging out of my hand. It felt clean. It was just that all that weight in the back for distance. My personal opinion, when you start throwing these axes for distance, and I'm talking 2, 3, well, not 2, more like 3, 4, and 5 rotations, you're talking anywhere like 40 feet and back. Having a lot of weight in the back here doesn't work really well if you're trying to stick your axe cleanly, because when you go to throw, it doesn't really take much for your wrist to kick because all the weight. Okay, let me explain something to you really quick. When you go to throw for distance and you're really trying to set up, not only do you have to worry about getting the axe straight, but you also have to put enough power behind it to get it there. And a lot of people, what happens is that when they start throwing for distance, when they really only concern themselves with power. And when you concern yourself with power to get the axe to the target, you almost forget about your wrist. And having all this weight back here doesn't help. So when you go to throw for distance, you're concentrating on power to get it there, and it's easy to flick your wrist. You have to think about keeping your wrist straight. This will hinder you when you do that. So that's the only thing I didn't like about this axe, was the weight in the back. It's not my axe for distance throwing, okay? Can I do it? Yes. Did I like doing it? Not really. It wasn't very fun for me throwing it for distance. But with that said, single rotations and double rotations, this thing was a freaking beast. I had a blast throwing it for single and double rotations. And I will tell you guys this bit profile, man, when it hit the target, it sunk in there pretty daggone deep to where I was like having to pull this thing out. So it flew true. I got a lot of really good throws in at single and double rotations. It was very accurate. I could stand at, I'll be honest with you, at this thing probably at its best is at single rotations around 12 feet. Somewhere around in there. This thing's a laser beam at around 12 feet. I was throwing it bullseye, bullseye, bullseye repetitively, kind of like the council tool hatchet, or kind of like the council tool camp axe. That thing was very similar to this. If you guys haven't seen that review, go back at the very end of the video. I throw like 13 or 14, I think it is, like bullseyes without editing the camera back and forth. This reminded me of that, and it had a lot to do with that weight back there. But I tell you what, if you get this axe, or if you like this axe and you want to check it out, I think you'll be good at single and double rotations. I would not suggest buying this for distance. Could you get it and throw it for distance? Of course you could, if you practice and practice and practice. But I think you would be better off with another axe at distance. Single rotations, this thing is a beast. I would stay at single rotations with this, 12 feet, and you will just very accurate. It flew really good in the air, and you can tell that it's weighted. When you go to throw it for a single rotation, it doesn't feel like the weight is moving. I know that sounds weird, but some axes can feel like the weight moves a little bit. It feels really good at single rotations. You get a nice, it's very consistent. It's a very consistent throw at a single rotation. Double rotations didn't feel as consistent, but it felt good. Anything past 2 rotations with this thing, and it's not very consistent at all. It just isn't. And you guys know that I can be very consistent with distance throwing, and I've shown that on camera many a times where I've taken axes and thrown 3 and 4 rotations, like the last video that I did, the Kings County Tools hatchet, guys, tomahawk hatchet. That was at 3 rotations, and I hit all 5 bullseyes. So that one was very consistent. Nothing against this axe at all. All I'm saying is that single rotations is really where it's at with this thing. Would I buy it? Yeah, I would. I'd buy it. I'd like to put it in my arsenal and keep it in my arsenal of axes, because it would be a great axe to throw for single rotations. This thing, like I said, is a beast. When it hits, it goes in pretty deep, and I like the consistency of it. So I would recommend it. I would recommend getting this axe. I think everybody would have a good time with it. It's seated very well. The handle's held up. It's been great. As far as the handle goes, guys, before I even started throwing it, I stripped that clear varnish off. There's no point in throwing it if it's got varnish on it. That's just my opinion, especially for distance. Get that varnish off. So I actually stripped that varnish off before I even started, okay? In this video, guys, I gave you a different look at how you can do something different with your handle as far as color and treating your handle. That restorative finish is pretty decent stuff. It's not something that's going to last forever, but you do have to kind of touch it up every few months. But it does a really good job of putting a finish on your handle, keeping it kind of natural, but bringing out the wood grain. I like that look, okay? And then I followed up with that feed and wax. It's got like carnauba wax and beeswax and all kinds of different stuff in it. You put it on there, let it sit for about 20 minutes, and then you kind of buff it off. And you would think by looking at it, it makes it like really shiny and really slick. it doesn't. Once you put that feeding wax on there, it soaks into the wood, and then you just kind of buff it out, and it definitely gives it a nice texture on your hand once it's fully cured and dried on there. Man, it feels really good. And you can go back over it again and use it again later on if you want to. I'll be honest and tell you guys that sometimes what I'll do is I had an axe that I'm going to put up for a while, and it's been coated with a bunch of stuff like bull linseed oil. I'll use that feed and wax stuff when I put an axe up for a few months and don't plan on using it again, and it seems to work out really well. So try it out and see if you like it. But like I said, it gives you a nice natural finish, and it's not overly done, it's not over the top. And then like I said, the grip on it afterwards when it dries, it feels really good. But yeah, guys, get you one. These things are great. I had a fun time throwing this. Single rotations is where it's at, and that's all I'm going to tell you. This is going to be a free giveaway. Caught my beard in that. You guys have seen how long this thing's getting? Good gracious, I could put feed and grow on it. But yes, this will be a free giveaway to you guys, but it's going to be announced in part 3. Part 3, come back and watch that. It's a new addition to the channel. I think you guys will get a laugh out of it. It's going to be kind of fun, and it's going to be informative too. Going forward, part 3 is when I'm going to announce the free giveaway and the details to enter. So look for that. Appreciate everybody's support. A little over 2,000 subscribers, guys. Trying to get more people to watch my long form content, because you guys know that's where I love making content. So I like shorts, but long form is where it's at for me. But help me out. Help me out, watch my videos, and give me some pointers. If you guys think I could do something better or different, throw it out there. I'll do it. I'll do it. As long as it's about axes or something axe related, and it can help the channel and it helps people watch, give me some information. Talk to me. Tell me what you think. But get it if you don't have one, or come back for part 3 and win this one. But until next time, guys, see ya.